So, Layla, you were mentioning so much and so eloquently about your connection to water, and you are, in fact, a water advocate, an activist, and you have visited several First Nations communities who are currently, as we speak, under boil water advisories. So there's a lot of talk about water crises across this country. Is there a perspective that you believe is missing in the conversation?
Well, I think in our documentary Boil Alert, we give that perspective that is missing, that firsthand, giving it a real face, so that we realize this is not just something that happens in third world countries. This is in our country right now. They're on 1.5 liter water rations. Imagine that, being rationed with your water supply, your drinking water, having it flown in, and being on a limited supply. This is just something that I feel like the film does a really great job of giving people that perspective. I lived in their communities. I sat with their elders. I sat with their youth, and I really felt firsthand it changed me on a very deep level, and I feel like that is the change that we need to have in order to create changes. When our heart is on fire, when our heart is, just guiding us.
And Layla, one of the questions you often ask people is, do you know where your water comes from?
Right, like I feel like in school we were not taught the actual life of water. No one ever told me, Layla, water is alive. It was just a chemical compound or something like that. And now we're getting into this world of science where you can actually, there's been studies on the impacts of our voice, of our energy on water on a molecular level. So this basic concept of teaching us that water is alive, right? It changes how we operate with water. Most of us have become so disconnected with water that, this water here in this cup, we're not sure where it came from. We're not sure the process that it goes through to get here, but we just assume someone else is going to take care of it. Someone's going to protect the water, right? Someone's protecting, making sure it's safe. Whereas now, we need to take that personal ownership. We're in a climate crisis, and we need to hold accountability to those that are protecting the water and that are supplying our waters, and we need to be in the mix, in the conversation, no longer just like passing the buck.
Yes. Well, as you just mentioned, you have really been on the ground in First Nations communities that are facing water crisis. Can you give us an example of a solution in action? Like, what does it look like in practice?
Well, for me, I feel like one of the solutions that has been attempted has been, just to throw a bunch of money at these water treatment plants, but there's really not this element of consultation, this element of involving the community, involving Indigenous voices who know about their connection to water, who know about their connection to land. So giving them that ability to, take care of these problems themselves. Also, going back to the root of these systemic controls that are causing the problems in the first place. We look at our legislation, we look at our policies and our politics, and we have to question them. And I think it's time that we as citizens, we start questioning. We ask, what are you doing to provide clean access water? What are you doing to consult with Indigenous communities? And how are you, when we're going to development and resource extraction, holding accountability to these large corporations is key.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Layla, in your fight for access to clean water, you focus on the youth. So are young people uniquely impacted by this issue, and how so?
For me, we look at right now, and today is a lot about looking at the history, looking at the past. But if we look right now, there are Indigenous children that cannot go to high school without leaving their homes, moving 500 kilometers away to a very racist system that is meant for them to fail. Right now, there's children that do not have access to clean water, that live in third world conditions in our country. Right now, there is a state of emergency in many of these communities for youth suicide. And I felt this impact so personally, on such a personal level, losing youth that were very connected to me. And I think that this is important because when you're at 10,000 days boil water advisory, Nishkandiga, Google it. You probably never heard of it, right? It's the longest boil water advisory in Canada. 10,000 days, 27 years. These children have never known clean water. And they said they feel like they don't exist. So if you feel like you don't exist, how do you feel about yourself? How do you feel about your life? It's no wonder these children are in crisis and they're lost. So I feel like this is a moment, this is a day where we acknowledge those children that never made it out of residential school, but we also acknowledge the ongoing generational issues and social impacts that has on our youth today. So if you're listening, you matter. Yeah, you matter.
Layla, any solution to this crisis requires numbers, right? It requires strength in numbers. What does true solidarity look like to you?
For me, you're taking the first step. You're doing it right now. You know, you're taking this moment to really hear my voice, hear the stories. You'll watch the film, you'll go and get further education. You'll take that process and share what it means to you with the world from your voice. And when all of our voices, right? It's bigger than just an orange shirt. This orange shirt is a commitment. This orange shirt is a responsibility that we have to move towards that truth and reconciliation. So true solidarity, you know, you're in line with it right now. I just encourage you to keep on that path. Make sure it's not just a day, but it is a way.
Oh my God, that was cool.
Layla, it has just been such an honor and a pleasure to have you here with us, to hear you speak and to share your message with everybody listening. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Hopefully I get to keep you talking.
We're going to work on that. I'm pretty sure that's going to happen.
Hey there, what did you think? Drop your comments below and join the conversation. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you can find more on everything from food and fashion to pop culture and current events. See you soon.